we've had conversations about your relationship with your dad, and it just sounds like an incredible relationship.
I love
that
my dad
your
so
dad's
much.
like Superman.
Yeah.
When we talk about your dad,
That's
but
how I feel about him. Yeah.
coming from looking at it from the perspective of a future father, both of us are future fathers, but like, how did your dad take your curiosity and handle it in the right way to make sure that you knew, like, one, this is a safe space, you can ask me whatever you want.
Yep.
And two, that you were going to get answers that would help you, not like tear you down or make you question, your love for God, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
What were some things that your dad maybe did that we could add to our little toolbox at Fatherhood?
Dude, that's huge. I always tell my dad whenever I talk about this, I'm like, you weren't perfect in the sense where you never got mad at me or upset or anything like that. Like, when I made mistakes, he was authoritative, let me know what I did wrong. And like he was stern, and he took care of me in that way, which I think a father should do. But he was so quick to ask for forgiveness. And I don't remember him as much getting mad at me as I do remember him asking for forgiveness and desiring to be close and in a relationship with me. He was soft and gentle when it mattered, and stern when it mattered. So I'm going to take that forever. I mean, that's the most valuable thing that he's ever done for me, is in his fatherhood or his journey in that. But I think the softness was like really key in helping me feel like I was safe with him and I could talk to him, because I knew if I did make a mistake, I had to talk to him. I had to tell him what I did. But after all the hard stuff was over, I knew that there was going to be a gentleness and the meek, just like, I would just imagine it as like the warm embrace of a hug after, it's like, that sucked, but you're safe now.
Yep.
So that was good for me.
I love that. I think that's super valuable. I think for me, in the generation that I grew up in and the culture that I grew up in, it was very disciplinary. And when you made a mistake, you knew it was going to be a bad day for you.
Yeah.
Which it was. But the thing that I appreciate, it wasn't my dad. My dad was the one that was working all day. So it was my mom that was with us all day.
Dang.
And my mom was a disciplinarian. And so, but I love that trait that I will always remember my mom being the disciplinary, but she always did the same thing. She would always apologize. You would get a hug from her and you knew she loved you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that will never be a question that I have when it comes to my parents, both my parents. But I also remember sometimes what I remember from my dad was when my mom would discipline us, my dad would be the first one to say, it's okay, you're all right. Now go say sorry to your mom for what you did. And it was very rare when that happened that my mom wouldn't be already in tears, though, when we come and say sorry to her, and then she would say sorry, and then we'd be fresh, new start again. But I love that my dad inserted himself in the way he did, because he knew his role to play in that. Like, you couldn't have two disciplinary people in it, right? It had to be a balance between the two. And I think looking back, I don't know if they realized it, but me in my later age, I think I realized the value in that I would love to be, I don't want to say, I don't want to discipline my kids the way that I got disciplined, but I do want to have that stern and the loving balance, right? Between the two, where it's like, when you did wrong, I'm going to let you know when you did wrong, but I'm also going to add an increase of love afterwards.
Right.
Yeah. It sounds like that's what your dad did.
Yep. Yeah. In a lot of ways. So I respected him so much. There's a quote that I love. It's a Jordan Peterson quote, but he says that you should be a monster and then you should learn how to control it. And he says there's no virtue in being weak. And he uses this example of a rabbit. He says a rabbit isn't virtuous because it's incapable of doing any harm. He's like, the virtue comes when you're capable of doing harm, but you restrain yourself. And that resonated with me. I wanted to be capable, and I saw it in my dad, where he was capable of great anger And I mean, he's a big guy. Like he could really hurt you if he wanted to. But the way he showed restraint was where his virtue lied. He was capable, but controlled.
Yep.
And so that meant a lot to me. That taught me how to respect him because I knew what he was capable of. But in a lot of ways, I would see the virtue in that in and of itself.
Yep.